Hi, Victor.
Hi.
It's time for story time with Gramie
and Pops.
Today we have a book called A Library Book for Bears.
But before we do that, we want to sing a song because we like singing songs. The bear went to the library, the bear went to the library, the bear went to the library to get a book to read, to get a book to read, to get a book to read. The bear got a book from the library, the bear got a book from the library, the bear got a book from the library to see what he could read. Yay!
So now...
Go ahead. Oh.
This is A Library Book for Bear. It was written by Bonnie Becker and illustrated by Katie McDonald Denton.
Oh, look at that.
The basket of
Books.
A Library Book for Bear.
Huh.
You're wiggling out. Bear had never been to the library. He had 7 very nice books at home. 3 about kings and queens, 3 about honeybees, and 1 about pickles.
Pickles.
Bear was quite sure he had all the books he would ever need. One morning, Bear heard a tap, 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 tapping on his door.
Who could that be? Wonder who's at the door.
When he opened the door, there was Mouse, small and gray and bright-eyed. "We are off!" exclaimed Mouse with a happy wag of his whiskers. Bear frowned. He had agreed to go with Mouse to the library, but now he was quite sure it was a dreadful mistake. "Completely unnecessary," Bear announced.
I have all the books I need right here.
"Oh, there are many delightful books in the library," Mouse assured him. Bear grumbled, but he had promised. So he buckled up his red roller skates and stepped outside, grabbing a basket for the books.
Look at those roller skates. Bears roller skate all the time, don't they?
Yes, and I want to ride in a basket like Mouse. Bear skated, and Mouse rode in the basket to the library, the wind rippling nicely through their fur. I think that Mouse is singing that song.
It must be fall. Look at all the fall trees. Yeah. That's when they have story time a lot of times in fall. Look at that library. Woo.
But when they got to the library, Bear didn't like how big it looked.
There are far too many books in there.
He protested.
Most excessive.
"Oh, no, it's quite exciting," Mouse said, leading Bear through the tall doors. In the library were more books than Bear had ever thought there could be. He quickly found a tucked-away corner, but even here there were lots and lots of books.
Terribly extravagant.
Bear's voice was a little loud. He's looking kind of grumpy there.
Yeah, grumpy bear.
What kind of books do you think are in this shelf? That might be...
Baseball ones, because I see the baseball.
Yeah, and what about this one?
That looks like kings and castles and...
What about this one?
Oh, stars and moon and sun.
Some planets and things
Planets,
there.
yeah.
"I shall find you the perfect one," Mouse said quietly in his library voice.
One about pickles?
Commanded Bear. After all, he only had one of those books. But Mouse had whisked away. Oh, there he is.
Oh.
Mouse came back with a thick green book. Bear opened it.
Rocket ships? Ridiculous.
Bear's voice was getting louder.
A good book about pickles is all I require. Remember.
Remember,
Sorry.
quiet in the library, murmured Mouse as he scurried off. He soon returned with a tall yellow book.
I am not interested in wooden canoes.
Bear's voice was even louder. Quiet voices in the library, Mouse reminded him.
My voice is always quiet.
Bear shouted.
I find my own books. I can assure you that pickles are quite interesting.
Mouse didn't look so sure, but Bear quickly spotted a blue book with a pickle on the spine, and Mouse sprang up the shelf to get it for him. Inside were pictures of pickles. The pickles had little fairy wings. They were dancing with petunias.
No dancing pickles!
Bear roared. Shh, said a voice.
Uh-oh. They both look surprised about that voice.
Mm-hmm.
What could that be?
Bear peeked around the bookshelf. There sat a librarian with a cluster of youngsters gathered around her. The librarian smiled, but a mother squirrel squished an angry finger against her lips, and an old raccoon said sternly, "Quiet in the library."
I think the moms came with him. And maybe some dads. Look at that one. They both have glasses.
Bear turned back with a huffy sniff.
I'm not wanted.
I know
when I'm not wanted.
he told Mouse.
I want to go home.
Surely at least one book, Mouse began. But Bear cut him off.
I have all the books I need.
He looked quite certain.
Then we are
off, said Mouse, but his whiskers didn't wag this time.
Oh, he does look sad. He doesn't want to go home. You ever feel that way, Victor? You don't want to go home from the library?
Bear stood stock still. He was listening carefully to a voice on the other side of the bookshelf. So the very brave bear began to inch his way toward the treasure chest, the voice was saying. "I'm ready," began Mouse.
Shh!
Exclaimed Bear.
I'm just getting into the good parts.
But you said... Sorry. Technical difficulties.
I don't know. Quiet voices in the library!
Bear bellowed. Wow.
That's a big, look at those big words. Ooh.
Knocked over the basket and everything.
Oh. And the skates.
This time the librarian got up and looked around the bookshelf at Bear. Bear stood very still and quiet, as if he'd been still and quiet all along. "Would you like to join story time?" the librarian asked. Bear glanced at Mouse. "We'd love to have you," said the librarian. Bear and Mouse scooted around the shelf and found 2 empty chairs. The librarian began to read again. Bear lifted the lid to the treasure chest, and inside... The librarian paused. Mouse and Bear strained forward.
They really want to see the end of that book.
Inside, she said, was a mound of pickle slices, and each shining slice was made of diamonds and gold, and everyone shouted, "Hooray for the very brave bear!" And then she said, "The end." Bear stared dreamily into space for a moment. Then he looked over at Mouse and announced,
As I said, pickles are the most interesting.
Indeed, said Mouse.
He looks very happy now.
Later, Mouse rode in the basket with 7 new books. There were 2 about wooden canoes, 2 about rocket ships, 2 about teapots, and 1 called The Very Brave Bear and the Treasure of Pickle Island, which Bear read to Mouse that very same day.
Look at all the books up there now. He's got more books.
More books, and one he's reading. The
And
end.
Go ahead and say goodbye. Goodbye, Victor.
Are you going to cut that out?
Maybe. I don't know.